fill in the blank.
Appreciate the fact that even if you are part of someone else's meal, at least they had to fatten you up first. Basically, the thing I figured out was that all chokes are about, all the good ones are about using the shoulder and the elbow on the same arm to choke someone. And so you imagine it like closing a Ziploc baggie. So if I have a darce on someone who's laying on their back, so like a darce that we were working on that comes from the scarf position, whenever they try and bridge out of it, you would switch to the darce type grip where your left arm would be pushing their elbow over and your right arm would be the one that was already under their head and arm in the scarf. And it's now going to become the arm which grabs the bicep on the left arm, right? So it's going to grab the bicep of the left arm is going to grab the elbow of the opponent's left arm, the one that was already in the scarf, and then it's going to turn into a darce type grip. And you are going to go after your naked, right? And but so basically from there you're going to finish by bringing your shoulder down and your elbow up, and then bringing them, pinching them together, zipping up like a Ziploc baggie or a zipper, right? And so it's actually the same thing with high elbow guillotine. If you understand what high elbow guillotine, what it is they're getting like a gable type grip, and then what they're doing is they're picking up their left arm elbow, and the reason that they're doing that is so that they can bring their elbow, their bottom elbow, so they're bringing their left arm up, if their left arm is the one that doesn't have the throat, they're bringing their left arm, their left elbow up, so that their right elbow, the one that does have the throat, is capable of removing, basically, by raising that wrist, by pulling the left elbow up, you're raising the right wrist up because they're connected by your gable grip. And whenever you raise that right wrist up, you're trapping the opponent into the right arm shoulder. And if their head is trapped between your right arm's wrist and your right arm's shoulder, then the only place that it's capable of going is the crook of your right arm's elbow. And if it's trying to escape to the crook of your right arm's elbow, and then you close the space between the crook of your right arm's elbow and your right shoulder, like a Ziploc baggie or a zipper, then where's the opponent's head have the ability to go? That's correct. It has absolutely nowhere to go. Because the space that was previously was its only salvation, the crook of your elbow, is now getting like it's like whenever you pour water into an ant colony, like molten steel, like your shoulder is pushing in like the molten steel of the ant colony, and the ants have nowhere to run. There's no bottom. The bottom of their ant colony is like the crook of your elbow, and whenever their throat gets stuck in the crook of your elbow, your shoulder closes in like a wall of spikes, pressing them into it, and then the pinch of that Ziploc baggie close, continuing to close. The pinch of that is going to cut off their ability to breathe. Yeah, you should just like feel it yourself. Yeah, it works. So to build on that, the big thing that we need to test are the switching from the hips to the mat darce to a scarf darce to tighten it, and then we also need to try a gable grip darce handle, which we start, or like basically like an arm triangle, from scarf, like the thing we saw in that scarf guy do in the old video where he would just get a scarf submission by just basically getting a gable grip, and then basically what we did understand before was the whole pre-area thing where you switch power from like your left leg to your right shoulder, and we also get the zipper thing, but now with understanding the zipper thing, we think that maybe we can essentially use the gable grip to trap their elbow, that's already in the scarf, and then use the left hip to pick up off the ground, keeping the right hip completely completely loose, slack on the ground. So your left leg picks up all of your weight, and then all of it is getting transferred. You're sitting it from your left leg into your right elbow and your right shoulder. And so where's your opponent's head and arm? Well, of course, it is in that the crook. You want the shoulder to be on one side of the throat and your elbow to be on the other side, and you want to close that zipper from left to right. So it's like you've got two swords, you know what I mean? Like the classic like beheading thing where you have one sword and another sword making an axe, and you close the axe. Well, you want the two sword points to be you want the two blades to be your elbow and your shoulder. And you want those two blades to close in from both sides to eventually meet on your opponent's neck and then continue squeezing until they tap. And so with basically you're using all of your weight. By just only using your left leg, you're transferring all of your weight into your right shoulder, and then you transfer that into your opponent's throat. And so you create like a bridge, like a rainbow, like a bridge between your left foot and your right elbow. And that's where all of your body weight has to go. And then, of course, that's where your opponent is. Your opponent is in that right elbow. And then you just walk back in. And so we need to try that in every different way. So the idea of a crankshaft, or my father calls it, it's basically just like the thing you like secure a boat with or whatever. It's like those straps where they have a thing on the end of it that you repeatedly like open and close like a lever or something. I don't know. And basically what that does is it stores that force on the it's basically like biting forward on the rope, make it tighter and tighter and tighter, and that's how it secures things to a car or like a boat or trailer, right? Because that bite, that continuous inching forward, and never letting go of any of that force can turn small amounts of force into an extremely secure thing by just storing every little inch 1 second at a time permanently into a lot of force. Use the gable grip idea with that, where it's like don't just get the gable grip as high as you can first and squeeze. Get the gable grip and then like whip around and then like whip around and like whip around, repeatedly bring it higher and higher up past your kitty, so that it's more and more and more and more like a high elbow guillotine. Like you just keep cranking that gable grip more and more and more and more. Each time you release the tension between your shoulder and your elbow, and then you finally deliver your last payload whenever you feel like it would be dangerous to do another crank. As soon as you feel like you have the most easy energy stored in your cranks, then you go for the final Ziploc baggie. The big difference between the scarf submissions and the darce submissions are just not having your head past the elbow. So like, keep that in mind, try both. The head past the elbow should work a lot better, I would imagine, because that is what like every arm triangle functions off of, which is the principle we were using to finish the last darce choke. It was just an arm triangle with a darce type grip. We need to try, now that we are trying to gable grip with the cinch idea, cinching it up tighter, we need to try doing that without the head being past the front elbow. Just leave it in the regular scarf position. And then do the pre-area bridge Ziploc baggie. And that might be able to get a submission, or at least threaten them and make them scared enough that they make a mistake that allows you to lock up the darce. So keep that in mind. So it works. I just tried the no head trap, purely gable grip, scarf choke. If you just Ziploc baggie, it's like a high elbow guillotine Ziploc baggie, it works like a fucking charm. Holy
Wow, that message is 8 minutes and 43 seconds. So there's going to be a lot of valuable stuff in that somehow got turned into fucking choppy nonsense. That's awesome.
Feedback loop.
Yeah, this one's 4 minutes, and
I could step over and have no resistance from the back on.
it's like, might as well be ancient Chinese.